My colleague, Paul Sisco, has more.
Watershed, a point of division between two periods of history. The definition for the English word is being used to describe the presidential election in Kenya between incumbent President Uhuru Kenyatta and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. In Rwanda, the race for the presidency was never in doubt, as President Paul Kagame easily extended his 17-year reign with a landslide victory in what he had called a formality. Rwandans are facing another 7 years with Paul Kagame leading the small East African nation. Kagame has earned praise for Rwanda's economic performance, but he is also strongly criticized for silencing his opponents. He won his third 7-year term with nearly 99% of the vote on Friday, a powerful mandate. More than 6.6 million votes were cast for the incumbent and just over 80,000 for the two opposition candidates. Challenger Frank Habineza received about 0.4% of the vote.
Over the 2017 presidential elections were indeed not pleasing as we had expected. However, as a Democrat, I'd like to take on this opportunity to congratulate the RPF candidate, Paul Kagame, for the victory and wish him all the best.
Kagame has led Rwanda since his rebel forces won the brutal 1994 civil war, ending the Rwandan genocide that killed some 800,000 people, mainly minority Tutsis. He's credited with a remarkable turnaround in Rwanda, which boasts annual economic growth of about 7%. However, human rights groups accuse him of ruling through fear and intimidation and systematic repression of the opposition by curbing free speech and silencing some media outlets and the opposition. In Kenya, the results are still being tabulated in the race between President Uhuru Kenyatta and his longtime rival Raila Odinga. The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, website showed at midday Wednesday about 94% of the ballots had been counted, with Kenyatta leading 54% to 45% in his bid for another term. Kenyan opposition leader Odinga says hackers carried out massive and extensive fraud against the Election Commission's computer system, resulting in what he asserts are fraudulent vote totals, showing him trailing well behind President Kenyatta. The IEBC chairman says he will investigate the charges. Many Kenyans stood in long lines before dawn and well into the evening, choosing not only a president, but senators, governors, women's representatives of the National Assembly, and the members of the National and County Assemblies. The polls were extended for hours, so everyone in line could mark their ballots. Raphael Tuju, Secretary General of Kenyatta's Jubilee Party, dismissed Odinga's accusations as disingenuous and appealed for calm. The two men faced each other in presidential elections in 2013. Odinga alleged vote tampering after losing in 2013 and challenged the result in court, later accepting the Supreme Court's ruling and defeat. Election officials have up to a week to announce the full results. Earlier, former U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, an election monitor with the U.S.-based Carter Center, said the vote is critical for the people of Kenya.
Obviously, the transition from voting to counting is going to be critical, and there's a process in place for that, too. That's why it's too early for us to be drawing any kinds of conclusions, but we'll see where it goes.
Kenya's Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission's major responsibilities include collecting and counting the votes from some 40,000 polling stations across the country. Days before the vote, security concerns intensified with the disappearance, torture, and killing of Christopher Masando just days ago. Mr. Masando was in charge of information, communication, and technology for the IEBC. According to the Kenyan Constitution, if neither Kenyatta or Odinga receive more than 50% of the vote and 25% or more of votes in at least 25 of Kenya's 47 counties, Kenyans will return to the polls and vote in the nation's first-ever runoff within 30 days. Paul Sisco, VOA News, Washington.